Hello everyone, welcome back to another cozy flannel recipe. Today we're making the king of comfort foods. That's right, pizza. Let's get started. So, a good pizza, much like an unlucky rabbit, rests on 3 legs. There is dough, there is sauce, and there is cheese. Today I'm mainly going to be focusing on the dough to keep this video short. To start, let's add 415 grams of bread flour and 9 grams of salt and loosely mix to combine. In a measuring cup, let's add 270 grams of lukewarm water between 65 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit with 1/4 teaspoon of active dry yeast. Stir the yeast until it is fully dissolved in the water. Keep going until it is dissolved, and when you fish a spoon in, it comes out homogeneous, like this. Next, make a well in the center of your flour mixture and pour the yeast mixture in. Loosely mix with a spatula until shaggy. Then put it in your stand mixer with a dough hook. Put it on medium and watch the dough go round and round. In about a minute, it's going to be smooth and pull away from the sides of the bowl nicely, but we really want to develop that gluten, so let's keep going, for at least 5 minutes. Lightly flour your work surface and dump your dough on it. Then pull the edges to the top like you see me doing here to create a nice tight ball of dough. Work it around and get it as even as possible, and then Then drop it into an evenly oiled bowl. Cover with plastic wrap and let rise at room temperature, or even slightly higher than room temperature, overnight. No pizza tonight, so I'm having a sandwich with that pesto sauce from my last video. If you try this and find it too strong, cut it with mayo or even some sour cream. Just be sure to save some for pizza tomorrow. Speaking of which, get some sleep. Overnight, the dough will rise beautifully. In the morning, be sure to hit the snooze button about 6 times. You're going to be doing it anyway, so you might as well have some permission. Take out the dough, divide it into 3 equal parts, or about 230 grams apiece if you want to be like that, and then round it into a it's 5 a.m., who cares? Ball again. Then put all 3 in individual containers, only this time put them in the fridge. After this in the morning, I will definitely be late for work, but you know what they say, haste makes taste? I don't know. Now it's showtime. Let's talk cooking method. With a pizza stone or a barbecue box like this. This sits on your barbecue and heats up and essentially does what a pizza stone will do, but it's a little bit more contained. However, if you were just starting, nothing beats good old cast iron for ease of use and taste. I'll show you both methods in this video. For the pizza stone/box style, simply put it on the heat and start your barbecue on full or your oven. If you are using cast iron, just put a baking sheet in the middle rack while you preheat. This is going to help transfer heat just a little quicker to the bottom of our skillet. Now we're going to prepare our toppings. For my first pizza, I'm going to get some mushrooms, prosciutto, which is just a cured ham, some Kalamata olives, and of course a gastronomic traffic jam worth of mozzarella cheese. For a simple tomato sauce, use some canned tomatoes, a touch of the liquid out of the can, a couple tablespoons of tomato paste, salt, and a little bit of sugar. Now we're going to turn it on. Okay, we should have had the lid on first. Pulse the sauce until everything is incorporated. There's so many ways to edit sauce that you really have to do what you think is best. You can add basil, oregano, garlic, any amount of herbs and spices. In fact, I would seriously recommend making a lot of pizzas to test out a lot of different sauces and toppings. You know, for science. At this stage, if you want the sauce more runny, add some tomato juice. If you need it thicker, add a little bit of paste. Now bring out your lovely dough from the fridge. You want it to sit at room temperature for about 10 minutes, and if you can help it, no more than 20 before you work with your pie. If it's going into a pizza oven or onto a pizza stone that's preheating, you'll probably need a pizza peel. The method I employ is flouring the peel and building your pie directly on it. To stretch your dough, generously flour everything, then start shaping your dough, poking it, patting it, trying to get it into a nice flat disc, then when pliable enough, draping it over your knuckles and letting the weight of the dough stretch it. This is a very elastic dough and a very soft dough, so be careful not to rip it. You can go ahead and throw it into the air at this stage. I'm not going to stop you. Keep working at it until you have an even and as round a crust as you can. Give it a shake to make sure everything isn't melted into the peel, and then start layering. First your sauce, and then your toppings. I'm going to go with my cured ham, mushrooms, olives, a whole bunch of cheese. Give it a shake on the peel to make sure that it'll slide in the oven good. Whoops! Looks like I spilled some of my pizza. Yeah, so this pizza is ruined. I'm gonna be honest, when you start making pizza with a pizza peel, this is gonna happen from time to time. But the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. However, if you want to take the guesswork out of it, there is an easier way to do it, which brings us to cast iron. We're going to start similarly with shaping our pizza dough, this time not on the peel, although the techniques will be the same. When it's roughly the size and shape of our cast iron, we're going to lightly oil the bottom of the cast iron and then drape our dough into place, forming it to the edges as we do so. Then our sauce. This time I'm going with my pesto sauce from the other video. Then my toppings for this one, I'm going to add chicken breast, mushrooms, and halved cherry tomatoes, followed by our mozzarella cheese again. Isn't that pretty? Then we're going to put it in our preheated oven on our sheet and let it cook. Some people will say to preheat the cast iron, but I can't see working over a 500-degree piece of iron while I gingerly try to drape dough and build pizza on it is a good idea. Oh, ginger, that's another interesting idea for sauce. Anyways, I strongly advise against it. Cook it for 5 to 10 minutes or until the cheese on top is melted and browning. And there you have it, delicious foolproof pizza. Tilting it probably isn't the best idea with molten cheese. Let's look at this on a plate. As you can see, the crust is a delicious golden brown, so now the test. Let's cut some carbs and then give it a taste. Creamy, herby, the cherry tomatoes balance it with a nice acidic bite. The chew of the chicken and the crust. This is truly a delicious pizza. Yeah, I'm gonna grab another bite. With that pizza eaten and my confidence restored, let's try this pizza peel thing again. Same order as last time. I was originally going to make a third pizza into a dessert, but I guess that'll have to wait for another video. This time we're going to make pizza margherita, which is tomato sauce, chunks of mozzarella cheese, and basil. Apart from being credited as the original pizza, this is also a great one to showcase quality dough and quality ingredients in general. Simple, delicious, perfect. Alright, let's try this again, and yes, that's what I'm talking about! On a pizza stone like this, you're going to want to turn it. I like to turn it twice, once every 60 to 90 seconds. The whole thing will be done well under 5 minutes. Once again, take it out when the crust has some nice dark spots, and when the cheese is nicely darkened. But as you can see from the bottom, we have some beautiful leopard spotting. That's just what you want. The cheese won't be quite as dark because the cheese is in large chunks in this case, but you'll be able to tell when it's done. When we cut this and pick it up, we see another benefit of the pizza stone is the crust is much more rigid. I can pick up a piece by the edge and there is no droop in the center. Now, this is my first time eating pizza margherita, and I have to say, for a recipe that is extremely similar to the one developed in the late 1800s, I understand why this recipe has stood the test of time. It's absolutely delicious. Tomatoes have a really interesting migrating story. They originated in South America and weren't introduced to Europe until the early 1500s, and then didn't migrate to North America until the 1700s. Judging by its travel pattern, it must have bought its tickets from Expedia. In the 1500s, the Spanish and the Italians started eating the tomatoes right away, though cautiously and not by everyone. But in France and Northern Europe, they avoided eating them altogether for a long time and were kept purely as ornamental plants because they belonged to the nightshade family. In Aztec, the word tamalt or zitamalt was used to describe the fruit, so it's easy to see its modern evolution. The Italian word for tomato, pomodoro, means golden apple or golden fruit, which has led to speculation that the first tomatoes were yellow in color. The French called it pomme d'amour, which means love apple, as it was thought to contain aphrodisiac qualities, and that it acted as a love potion. When the tomato finally made its way to the USA, Thomas Jefferson was known to raise them in his garden in the 1780s, but they weren't used for food in America until the early 1800s, and even then they weren't popular until the 1900s. Pizza also has an interesting history, of which only a slice can be told here. In Naples in the 1700s, the population was growing, and as it did, the population of poor people also grew. Out of this group was a people known as the Lazzaroni. In order to feed themselves, they started selling cheap yet filling flat cakes off of carts with various cheap but flavorful toppings. Two things made it easier to sell to poor people. One was that they put tomatoes on these pies, a fruit that, although it was eaten, it was untrusted due to it being relatively new, and also gourmets at the time looked down on the tomato, and it was considered something not fit for sophisticated palates. Two was that these pies were designed to be cut into pieces, so if a poor person couldn't afford a whole pie, they could buy only a slice. Even though it grew in popularity, pizza was looked down upon for a century, even being purposely kept out of the first recipe books ever written. This changed when Queen Margherita came to Naples and requested a local specialty. Raphael Esposito, a local cook, made 3 pizzas for Her Majesty, one of which was to symbolize Italy by copying the colors of the flag. Raphael came up with a pizza with tomatoes, mozzarella cheese, and basil. The Queen fell in love with it, and it was called Pizza Margherita in her honor. Some give this credit as being the original pizza. Amazingly, even after this, pizza still didn't catch on much in Italy, staying in Naples and only moving northward as people from Naples moved northward. At the same time, the first pizza place was opened in New York in 1905 and was called Lombardi's. Pizza in America spread quickly, gaining in popularity through the 20s and 30s and exploding after the Second World War until we come to the present day, where 3 billion pizzas are sold in the US every year. In one sense, Americans loved pizzas before the Italians did. Italy may have been the father of pizza, but America was its one true love. It's also interesting that in the 300 some odd years of pizza being around, it still hasn't broken the food critic stigma, still being regarded by many as a lower class meal, something a sophisticated person wouldn't eat. I think pizza is a good reminder to all of us that if it tastes good, who cares? You do you, and if critics aren't going to eat their pizza, that's fine. More for us. Hey guys, thanks for watching my video. I hope the history lesson wasn't too boring. There honestly is a lot of history to this dish, and I totally encourage you to check it out for yourselves, if you're as fascinated with pointless food history as I am. Sorry for this video taking so long to come out. It's been a busy couple of weeks, but hopefully I'll be able to bring my next one out a little bit quicker. If you have any pizza stone fails like I did, be sure to let me know in the comments below. It would make me feel better. What are your favorite pizza toppings? And of course the big question, does pineapple belong on pizza? Let me know your thoughts below, and I'll see you again soon for another cozy flannel recipe. Until next time, stay humble, stay thankful, stay cozy. God bless.